Thank you for joining us, Martin, on another enlightening episode of Golden Llama Show. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. And thanks for inviting me today.
The pleasure is all mine. And I'm going to start this interview with a very tricky question. Now, I want you to picture this, that you have to pitch a startup idea within 60 seconds to
Right.
an alien from another planet. What would it be?
Oh, in 60 seconds. You want to be entertained? Come with me. I'll show you her. I'll show you the global population. How we went from nothing to getting to nothing because we don't know how to manage it. It's going to be very entertaining.
Okay, I'm so. But I also understand that you have vast background from several different industries from all around the world. What's the most bizarre or unexpected challenge that you faced in your global journey?
I would say it's the adaptability to change, which has become part of my personality now, is I like to be uncomfortable, which most people are not. But to make a long story short, I've been working and living in 10 different countries, 11 or 10, I think, in North America, in Asia, in Europe as well. In some cases, it's quite comfortable. You live from Canada to America, you speak the same language, you read the same things and so on. And then you start moving to countries like Germany, where when I first moved in, I could even say yes or no. That was pretty much it. And then you adapt over time. But it went to a point where working in Asia, for example, I've been sometime in Myanmar, for example, where you cannot read the language, you cannot speak the language, you cannot understand the language, and you're probably one of the only stranger or foreigner in that country. And meanwhile, you still have to make it there and make it happen. So it's quite uncomfortable, quite bizarre as a feeling, but it's quite rewarding because as you go through these situations, you become very, very confident over time to say, there's nothing's going to stop me now. If I can go through this situation at that time, and by the way, Myanmar is also in civil war situation, so it's very, very uncomfortable. I like to be uncomfortable, so I create that for myself.
I have this thesis always in the back of my head that business people actually go out to the world to test their ideas and execute them because deep within, they have been dealt cards by the god, and one of the cards is that they are not enough. So they want to prove their worth to the world, and sometimes they will achieve that, sometimes not. And obviously, since this is your starting point, you could say a software installed in your computer called the mind, no matter the input, the output would always be faulty. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
You're absolutely right, because I work a lot with entrepreneurs, new entrepreneur or even season one, and it's a common trait. Entrepreneurs, they are rarely confident. They want to explore more, they want to test more. They're not sure if it's going to work or not, but they still do. And that's a good thing, actually, because they have this feeling of, I haven't achieved it yet. Like they have the imposter syndrome, what everybody knows. You try to do something and you're not comfortable that you can achieve it. You say, who am I to actually do it? And am I even better than anyone else? And this is the fine line between people who just give up and people who say, okay, why not me? I'm going to go it and prove myself. But it's a constant struggle to prove themselves. And once they achieve success, they say, okay, if I'm successful, it's not enough. I must be missing something. And they try something else and improve and improve. It's actually I don't want to say negative trait, but it's also a positive one at the same time. It's quite common with business people.
So in truth, it depends how it is used. If it's used for motivation to build yourself, and even if you feel that emotion and you say to yourself, so what? I'm going to do it anyway. Then
Right.
it's good, then it's going to benefit you. But if you allow that emotion to use you, not to go out, and all you do is stay on the couch and you yearn to do business, you are one-upreneur, as Alex Hormozi would say, then it's going to keep you locked and you won't move further away. So
there's a very, very fine line. I would say that action is the only thing between dreamer and doer, right? Because there's a lot of people who dream. Some of them have great ideas and great concept. Everything's ready, but they just don't dare to make it out there. They are scared of being judged, scared of failing, scare of not being enough. And some people have the same feeling, but just say, okay, so what if I fail? So what if people don't like my idea? I'm just going to do it anyway. And maybe it's going to be a good idea. Maybe not. And if it's not, I'll learn and do it again later, right?
Yeah. Embracing failure seems very critical for business success.
Yeah.
I'm speaking from also my experience. I had several businesses.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, if I recall correctly, was a startup in food industry, and I failed completely because I had no knowledge, experience whatsoever. And the problem is that once you start business, there are so many things you need to learn. You need to learn sales, marketing, business operations, so many things that it appears that you are so overwhelmed that you don't know even where to start.
Yeah.
So for those that are starting, what would your advice be?
But there's different things. First of all, you need to balance the dream with the structure, right? Because you can have great dreams, you can have great ambitions, you can have the vision, you can have a lot of good ideas. But the key is, how do you transform that into actionable steps, right? And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs would skip that step. And I wouldn't consider failure as a step. It's actually, just to take a second to talk about failure, failure is a necessity in business. And people that never fail, if you come to me to say, I'm successful, I never fail, I never make mistakes, you don't get my respect. That means that you never push yourself, you never try something new, you never try to invent or improve what's existing. If you fail, it means that you've tried something, it just didn't work. And then you learn. And when it hurt, you learn much more than if you read a book or if you go to school for 4 years degree, right? You're going to learn a lot of things on paper, but it means nothing. But if you fail, that hurt. And when it hurts, you learn how to do it. So failure is quite important. But the key to answer your question is, there's a couple of steps. So when I coach people, normally I have a process, a 5-step process going from the idea, the vision, the dream until now it's time to launch or to start up. And there's a couple of key things in between. For example, having a clear mission or vision of why do you exist as a company. You need to be very clear. Your why. This is why the customer would buy from you, who you are, why you're doing it. Then it goes to a business model. That's a step that many people forget. They just want to get to the budget and launch it. But you need to understand, who's your customer, who's your target, why would they buy from you, what problem are you solving, and how, and very important, how will you monetize that? And people don't give enough thought to these processes. And then the closer you get to launching, the more complicated it gets, the more complex. The planning, the budgeting, the business plans. It's a very boring part of doing a business, actually. It's intensive, it's complex, it's not fun. So people skip it and start a business. And then they fail because they haven't thought it through. They like cash flow management. How much money do you need to keep you afloat until you succeed? Who exactly is your customer? How you target them? How you talk to them? How do you sell? To your point, you don't need to be a master, but you need to understand product development, sales and marketing and operation and all these things. The finances, it's the backbone of your business. Many people don't even understand what a P&L is, and they fail. Right? There's a lot of key steps that I teach or I coach when I do the business coaching with people. From the idea to the implementation, there's a lot of effort that you have to do before.
It seems that we are so focused on the goal that we forgot the journey is what it takes us to the goal. And sometimes the journey is more important than the goal itself.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that failure is important. And I also do agree with that. I do believe that healthy relationship with failure will teach you so many things. Instead of doing what many people do, they do their weekly wins. I think it's gonna grow your ego, and I don't actually need that. So I focus on something completely opposite, and I write up my weekly losses. And through that process, I see why I lost, and I can learn from that because
Correct.
in business, there are patterns that are on repeat, and they're going to repeat and repeat and repeat. It's like a game. And if you just don't know how to go through one level, you're going to be stuck completely on it.
Yeah.
And
You need to understand every single level. Why, not only why you fail, but also why you succeed. That's also people most of the people I talk to, they never thought about this. Say, yeah, I'm learning from my mistake. Do you learn from your success? How did you succeed? Do you understand why? Because that's going to help you move to the next level, right? The same as the failure.
Can you share a story of one of your most inspiring clients that have achieved success?
I will explain one which is in process right now. He's an older man, he's 60 plus, and he's a man that has been a failure, according to him, all of his life. So every single things he've tried, every job he had, he's still thinking to this day, at 60 something years old, that he's a failure, right? And he's an artist. He likes to draw things as mix the digital and the contemporary artistic image and pictures. And he reached out to me at some point and said, I'm close to retirement. I never achieved anything. I would like to get something done at least to live from it in the next couple of years for retirement. So we start working on it. And the first thing that I've done with him is working on this mindset. And in business, the mindset is the most critical thing. If you think you're a failure, if you wake up every morning, you think you're going to fail, I guarantee you will fail, right? So we've done a lot of work changing the mindset and looking into different perspective of why, like we said before, this failure is actually a step toward something else. And everything that you've learned, you have to be intentional in everything you do. And we went to a point now, and we still have this coaching program, if you say, but he went from a very, very, very unconfident person to, shit, I'm going to lose, I'm going to waste, not lose, I'm going to leave my job in the next month because I'm fed up. I just can't do it anymore. But he has this confidence level now to say, I know I'm not ready, but I know that I can do it. And we start working on his ID generation, which is also one of the most things that people say, I'd love to do a business. I just don't know why, or what should I do? So through a lot of brainstorming and coaching, we went to failure to, I know exactly what I'm going to do. It's not exactly what I want to do, but I have a milestone. So within 1 year, I do this to generate enough income and leave my job. And then from this, I will subsidize or fund my other dream, which is the second business. It's going to take much time. To make a long story short, he has a lot of skills or decades of managing property and stuff like that. He knows, and there's a huge demand in the market, and he's underpaid for what he's doing. So now he's going to start his consulting service, recruiting other people for the part he doesn't like to do, the sales part, and he's going to provide advice for people. He will probably make, according to the estimation, probably make double what he's doing now as an employee. He's going to manage just the part that he likes to do, and he's going to end up having a business, which is success. So we're working a lot of his business model right now and his business plan. But for me, the success story is going from a bad mindset to a confidence level that I can do this.
Yes, from fixed growth mindset.
Right.
And working on your own terms is always a big thing. We discussed flexibility. We discussed value of embracing failure. Do you think there are any other traits that you believe are non-negotiable for success?
Resilience. I would say resilience. If I look at the people I coach normally, the great majority of them will never make it to launch a business. Because from the aspiration, yes, it looks good, I want to do it. And then they start having the dreams and generation of ideas, and that's exciting. And then, whoa, now we get into the business model. Now you need to start working. You need to do the research. And then you start the business model, realize, oh, this business may be not viable, or it's nice, I'd love to do it, but I cannot generate enough income for it. So then you need to go back to drawing board and rethink something else. Or then you go to the business model, you start making the plan, and financially it doesn't work out. You need to rework. So there's a lot of work. And the closer you get to launch, the more work you need to involve yourself, and you're going to fail, and you're going to repeat, and you're going to learn. And then at this stage, people start giving up. So there's a lot of aspiration, but aspiration without resilience means nothing. You're just a dreamer. You're just a dreamer, basically. You're not an achiever. So for me, resilience is key to business, not only before you launch, as you launch, but especially after you launch, because you're going to have a ton of failure. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be laughed at. You're going to be probably not making money for a couple of months at the beginning, or maybe invest and lose everything at some point, or maybe not. If you're not resilient, the first obstacle, the first roadblocks, you're going to give up. So you need to fight and fight and fight until you make it. And that's a combination of mindset and resilience. Mindset is no one's going to stop me. I'm going there. It doesn't matter where the problem is coming from. I'm just going to fight them up and I'm going to go to my goal. And that's resilience. That's a very strong mindset. That's why when I do the coaching, there's a lot of work that I do. People want to see the business plan. Yeah, fine. We're going to get to there. But there's a lot of work. If I feel that the entrepreneur is not ready yet, we're going to do a lot of work on the mindset first, because it's like the foundation. If you try to build a 10-story hotel on a mud, the first time you have a bit of a shake or wind, it's going to fall, right? You need to have a solid ground. That's a mindset.
I agree with that completely. And I wanted to ask you, since obviously mindset is the foundation that you build on, and then you find the techniques and the skills required to thrive in business. Let's assume someone has the business plan, goes out to the world. What's
Yeah.
going to happen is he's going to speak to people about his offers, right?
Right.
And this is just the cruel reality that the person is going to hear more no than yeses.
For sure.
How not to take it personally? How not to be attached to
Well,
hearing no?
one, actually, I have two tips. The first tip is you need to be confident enough. That's why we do all the business plan and the working. And as a coach, I'm there not only to motivate you and do the mindset and the plan, I'm there to kick your ass when it's not good, right? So it's like a sparring partner. I will challenge you to the core until you're very sure that your idea, you believe in it to your core, right? To say, I don't care what people think. I don't care if people don't, the first 1,000 people don't believe in it. I'm going to get there because I believe that's the right thing to do. So again, it's all a mindset. You need to be so self-confident on your ideas that people saying no, it's not you the problem, it's them. They don't need that problem. Then the second thing is I see rejection. When you do a sales pitch, I would see it kind of a playing a role, right? It's not personal. Today I'm acting as a salesperson. I have a product to pitch, and the answer might be yeah, maybe nay, but I'm playing that role, and it doesn't affect me personally. It's just I get the feedback, I digest it, and I hear them, and maybe what they say as objective or objections is going to help me refine my sales pitch later, right? So see it as you playing a role. You're just pitching to someone as an actor, and then whatever the answer is, it doesn't matter, right?
Objections in the long term are actually a good sign. It means that someone is showing interest. If person wouldn't be interested, he would just not respond to the message or ignore it completely. So objections are a sign of progress as well.
All right.
And on this journey of having a successful launch of the business, once we acquire some customers, it's obvious that we need to establish our finances. So we spend less than we earn. Do you have any advices on that step?
Yeah, financial management or financial planning is, like I said before, it's a fuel in your car, right? If you don't have the right finance, many startups fail actually because they mismanage the finance. They just didn't plan for it. And part of the exercise I do before launching is the budgeting, right? So there's a couple of components. The first part is budget properly your revenue estimation. How much revenue do you think you're going to make, and when realistically you're going to start generating a revenue and income? Then your cost of operation, which in details, how much does it cost to run your business, including your salary? Because if you don't pay yourself, at some point you're running out of money and you need to eat, and you may give up your business and find a job. And then your net profit. You will likely, and depending on the type of business, you will likely run into a negative cash flow for the first couple of months, maybe a year. You need to account for that because you're going to need to finance yourself. Do I get an investor? Do I get a private? Do I get a loan? Do I finance myself? But you need to be very clear, how much money do you need to sustain yourself? So cash flow management, budget planning before you even start is important, because that's a problem that many people just want to go fast, go quick. And they think, because they hear a lot of things on social media, yeah, just start a business, you make 6 figures in 3 months. This has never happened. I never met anybody like this. It's good for selling courses online or stuff like that, but this is not how people make money, actually. Not a reality. So
I think
be
just
conscious.
people are attracted by the people that sell them. And I also do believe that courses have very low success rate as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And regardless, starting business seems like launching a rocket to the moon. if you think about it from the great picture, it's a very big task and you don't know where to bite. But if you divide it into the smaller pieces,
Yeah.
you can do it step by step by step.
Yeah.
And once you have the finance in place, and if the entrepreneur is on that stage, it's time to scale. What can you advise us on scaling the business?
What I like to do is working on a roadmap on the long term,
Mm,
right? So we're talking 3 to 5 years, which is reasonable for scaling a business. What I advise people to do is start with what is the intention? What do you define as success? For example,
mm,
in 5 years, this is where I exit my startup and I start making my cash out and everything. In 5 years, what the business will look like? How many product will you sell? What is the assortment, the services? How many revenue? How many incomes you make per year, and so on and so forth. Then you break it down. Okay, so to achieve that, what is year 4 and year 3 and year 1? And then year 1, you break it down in quarters and in months and weeks. And then you define for every single piece. The closer you are, the more details you are. The 5 years is just an assumption at this point. But you break it down in small details about what is it that you will achieve to get to your goal. And once you get this clear, you need to work on the enabler. If I want to launch 5 products in the first 12 months, what are the enablers? What are the stuff I need, the finance I need, the
mm.
research I need? So you need to think about the enablers, and to get the enablers, what does it mean on the budget or financial planning? So everything fits in. It's like a big puzzle, right? But you need to get from the big picture to the smaller one to the smaller one, and you break it down in the tiny space, and you take one step at a time. When you go to that level to say, okay, now I break it down what I need to do this month, you break it down by week, and you ask yourself that question: what do I do today? What actions do I do today to achieve my goal of this month? And tomorrow, what did I do tomorrow? And the day after, what am I supposed to do, right? So one little step at a time. The smaller the step, the better it is. Easy to digest, easy to execute. And then you get there.
For someone that is just starting out, what's the one piece of advice that might surprise them, but is crucial for long-term success?
Make sure that your personal vision align with your business vision. The one thing that people give up or burn out or fail is they become a slave to their own business, as opposed to have a business that support their ambition. So I give you an example. Another person I coached who gave up at some point, but when we start discussing, she came up to me and said, I want to start my accounting business. Okay, fair enough. So I asked a couple of questions on the assumption. I said, why accounting? She said, because when I was young, my dad says, you're the clever one in the family. You're going to study accounting. So she studied accounting and started working in accounting for 20 years. And I asked her the question, do you like it? She said, no, how? I hate accounting. So why the hell would you start a business in accounting? In 2 years from now, you're going to be working at something you hate, much more hours for less money. For what? So people don't realize, they make the mistake, they fall into a trap to say, I want to start a business now. I'm going to start with what I know. But it doesn't mean that what they know or capable of is what they like. So the big exercise in my coaching program, we always start with, what is your personal vision? Who do you want to be in 5 years? Because when you start your business, when you start developing your business model, that business should support your ambitions and lifestyle in 5 years. It shouldn't enslave you into not realizing who you want to be in 5 years. And that's a big, big advice that I give people. And that's a step that many people forget or even don't think about or even don't want to work on, because it's tough working on yourself. It's self-growth, it's self-reflection. And some people are saying, oh, it's too esoteric for me. I just want to go to the business plan. Fair enough if you want. But I'm telling you that it might not work out in the long term. It might work you will be launching a business for sure. Are you going to be happy about it? That's questionable.
So we're circling back again to mindset. Have you
Right.
observed that it is a bit funny that people quit their corporate job to be free, start their business, and get huge loans so they become slave to the business?
Right.
And people in corporation actually want safety and they can be fired from the corporation any given day.
Yeah. But first of all, there's no safety these days, right? It was true a generation, 2 generations ago, right? People get into a job, they almost secure that they can work there until retirement, get a good pension plan, and then retire happy, right? So kind of a safety net. Nowadays, even if you work for a bank or big corporation, They can fire next week if they want to. Nobody stops them. And then
Yeah.
the older you get, you think you have security, but if you get fired at 50 years old, what do? Nobody hire you anymore. The job market is very tough. It's changing. AI is getting into the scene right now where I'm 52 now. If I lose my job tomorrow, what do I do? So there's no security. This is what some people start to realize that, okay, now maybe I should take my destiny and try to get a backup plan type of thing. But the danger to say what you said is people would sometimes start a company or their business for the wrong reason. They start because they're fed up and or they just lose their job and say, okay, I'm going to start a business. And they will fail or they will quit or they will go back to a job because it's not the right motivation. The motivation is I want to build something from the ground up. I want to build my future. I want my business to support my lifestyle. So that these are the right couple of examples, the right motivation how to begin with. Because at this point, you don't care about the loan, but you don't care about failure because you have a destination in mind. This is where you go. But if you start the business because you hate your boss, it might not work out. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, you escape for a while, but you're going to be slave for probably worse, most probably worse conditions than if you keep your job or find another one, right? So
That's
be
exactly
mindful
true.
of the reason why you want to start a business. And that's a question I ask also all the time. When people, I do normally an exploration call the first time and ask the question, why do you want to become an entrepreneur? And people come with all the bullshit. Yeah, I want to give back to my environment and society. I want to make a difference. Blah, blah. It's not true, right? You want to have a good lifestyle. You want to make money. Be true to yourself. People sometimes they want to do something because they have the social pressure. People expect if you have a business, you are expected by society, by your family, by your friends that yeah, you need to make a difference and give back to others, blah, blah. Yes, if you can, you do. And if you like it, you do it. But it should not be, it's not your motivation, it's your society motivation. They dictate your life all your life. So that's your time now to define who do you want to be and for what reason. So why do you want to become an entrepreneur? That's a question to ask yourself.
Talking
Is-
about
Yeah.
society programs us to believe that in order to achieve success, you need to work 24/7. There are many digital marketers that say the same thing, work as much as possible. And if that is what you're going to do, eventually you will find success. Is that something that you also believe?
No. Actually, I think the major problem today in society and in business in general is we let people define success for us, right? If you go to America and if you go to UK and Canada, people define success on how big is your house and what car do you drive, right? And are you promoted? What is the title you have? So people define success on these little things. I tell you my definition of success. If I wake up every morning and I'm excited to start my day, I'm successful. Doesn't matter the type of car I'm driving or the house I have or where I live. I'm waking up and I tell that people think, oh, you're living the life. I'm waking up, I take a slow morning, take my coffee at 9:30 if I want, and do my things. Yesterday, I went to the beach seeing a couple of clients. That's my definition of success. I manage my day the way I want it and take as many businesses as I want or I can. And that's it. I even in my coaching business, I limited to at maximum 3 businesses per month and 3 to 5 entrepreneur per month. Nothing more than I could take more, but I also want to balance my lifestyle. And I'm true to my definition of I have a life that I wanted to have 5 years ago, and this is where I am now. I don't need to have a big car. I don't need to have the big house. But the society puts so much pressure from the day you're born. You're a kid, and then they tell you you're gonna go to high school, then you're gonna go to a university or college. You're gonna graduate, then you got to find a job, and then you have a spouse or wife or husband. You need 2 kids and a big house and a car, and then you get promoted by 25, and by 30, if you're not married, what are you doing? This is definition of the success that society dictate to you. Who are you to tell me who I want to
No.
be? For some people, it's perfectly fine. That's a roadmap defined. I don't need to think too much. There's a path, and I'm going to achieve it as much as possible, and then good. But for some people, like the true entrepreneur, burning inside, that doesn't fit me. Why would I follow that path? That's not me. So again, it's the definition of success, the engine. Why do you want to start a business, or when do you define success or achievement, right? And it could be very little things. It could be big things. If it could be, I'm going to have a unicorn, $1 billion company. For me, that's success. Yeah, good for you. Then you're going to build your plan accordingly. Yes, you may work 24 hours for 6 months or 6 years or 12 years, and then you're going to exit and sell everything out and cash out. Good for you. That's your definition of success. But you cannot have conflicting definitions. Some people say, yeah, I just want to work 3 days a week, live in the north of Thailand, and enjoy my coffee every morning. And I want to have a startup that make 1 billion in 3 years. I think something doesn't work, buddy, right? You're going to have to think it through. You can have all you want, but there's a cost for everything you want. You just
Yeah.
need to figure out if it matches or not.
Actions always have consequences.
Yeah.
And we just cannot dwell. You mentioned about business meetings. How much of a value have preparation to be successful in those meetings?
It is crucial to do the homework, because when you come to a session with me, my job is as a coach is to challenge you, to change your mindset, to support you, to give you the skills, to give you the tools, like a sparring partner, basically. But you need to do the work, right? The thing, I will never guarantee you success. I will never tell you, you're going to do the coaching with me, you make 6 figures in 6 months. I cannot, because the reality is you have to do it. I will not do it for you. I will show you how, I will coach you, I will guide you through, but you do it. And that's a problem I have with people guarantee you on social media, take my course and you make 6 figures in 3 months. There's some people just going to read the course and expect something and nothing's going to happen. And you have people that don't take the course, just watch a couple of YouTubes and TikTok and going to be very successful because they do the work. So doing the work and committing, be intentional of achieving it, that's fine. On my program, we normally meet once a week. Between sessions, you have homework to do. If you come the next session with no homework, up to you. And we're going to talk again, the same thing probably, and then you're still going to get nothing. So you have some homework to do and preparation, and then we interact between sessions. I'm not sure about this is what you think. Fine. But you need to do progress. It's really up to you.
Yeah.
There's no magic solution.
Just execution, execution, execution.
Right.
Truth be told, what you said about many online gurus resonates very deeply with me, to the point that one might believe that this is a scam. So how you navigate through the cruel reality of online gurus selling you their programs, how to know who to follow and which content to consume?
To begin with, I think you have to be mindful of what you listen. You need to be intentional, right? Do your research. If someone, my rule of thumb, if it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true, right? To begin with, if someone, I give you an example. One that I've seen was ridiculous. The guy says, I took $100 and make $10,000 in 1 week. Then I start doing the math. This is 1,000 times, right? No, it was 1,000. Yeah, it was this 100 times. So then I try to figure out if second week I take 10,000 and do 100 times is 1 million.
Yeah.
Then the third week is 1 million is 100 million. And the fourth week is 1 billion. So you're telling me I give you $100 bill, and by the end of the month you give me $1 billion. Is that right? So sometimes it's just common sense. Listen to what they say or they claim, and then look into their profile. Yes, they're going to show off, they drive big cars and so we start talking to them. How do you make money? Because they're not making money by doing what they're claiming. They make money by selling the courses of 5,000, 10,000, and they find suckers to pay 2-3 times per month. And yeah, of course, I make 6 figures a year. I'm selling e-courses, and I'm teaching you how to sell courses. It's kind of a pyramid scam. So be mindful, doubt everything, and then if it's expensive and you just have to read something, buy a book. Go on YouTube, it's free, right? Service where people come, like similar to coaching. I don't want to sell my coaching for that perspective, but in that case, it's a face-to-face. It's a tailor-made solution for you. It's not something that I make and sell you and then promise you. And if someone promises you something, that's a red flag. If I promise you, you read or come to my course and you'll be successful, that's a red flag. If you register with me for a coaching session, I will never promise you. I will promise you to give you all the best and bring you to your success, assuming that you do the work. But if you're not ready to work, I'm sorry, you're just going to waste your money and waste my time. So yeah, there's a lot of scam out there, unfortunately. And the problem is, because of the education system and the society, people are led to believe this is true because the social media is the reference now. They see So many people living the life and rich and traveling all the time. And the only thing they do is on the beach with their phone and affiliate marketing and stuff like that. It's just not true. But
Yeah.
there's so many of them that the eager people will believe that. And when I meet, I call aspiring entrepreneur, actually three groups of aspiring entrepreneur. You have the one that talk about starting a business 10 years ago, and then 10 years from now, they still talk about this because they want to, but they're not ready to make the actions. Then you have mostly the younger people. They're so eager to be rich fast that they will believe it. And they will fall and they will pay these courses and be disappointed 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And then they come to me and say, I don't believe that you can do it for me. I will not. You will do it for you. And then the third one, which I like, is people that they will do it, but they're not naive. They will ask a lot of questions. They will be interested. What can I do to do it? So these are the people I like to work with. The naive people, whatever happens, the new things, the new trend, they're just going to pay for it and hope that they're going to get rich very soon. Like cryptos, yes, you can be lucky. Like crypto, 1 in a million, get lucky and get very rich with it if you were the right time and the right process. But many, many, many people lose everything, but they never brag about it. Nobody talk about it. And the rest of people want to sell you crypto because they take your money and invest on your behalf and then make the profit, and this is how they make the money, not their money.
So the naive people go where the grass is greener, as it's called the shiny thing syndrome. Do you have anything to say to them to wake them up that the grass is green where you put the work in?
People don't want to be waking up. They're going to wake up at some point where they fail so much. And one advice I like to tell people is take advice from people who have what you want to have, right? If people teaching you how to get rich or how to start a business, but they're 22 years old, get out of school, never start a business, don't listen to them. Or even to a point where people start a business, being very successful, sell it to 10 millions. Even if you're successful once, doesn't mean you can teach and coach the business. You never learn how to fail. You never learn how to fight. You never learn how to struggle and how to build something from scratch. So look into who want to give you the advice, even if for free. Human nature, people want to give advice for free all the time. It's a good intention. But most of the people are not qualified to give you advice. The same in relationship. You get advice from, oh, you should do this with your relationship. Bro, you're single. What makes you an expert in that matter? The same thing on businesses. People, yeah, in your business, you should do this and sell that and approach it this way. And this is, you don't have a business. How? I will listen to a couple of things. You might get some ideas, but you're not going to teach me how to do things. Listen to the people who have what you want to have. That's the advice, right? And this is where the green is grass, and the people who have the green grass, the real one will tell you, yeah, that for 10 years I struggled and had the pain and lost money and lost my times and worked 20 hours a day for the last 6 months to make just a bit of a profit. This is the reality. It's a harsh reality. To become an entrepreneur, it's not easy. It's very difficult. Rewarding.
I also do believe that if a person really did find a money printing machine like that, he wouldn't share it with the world. He would stay
Exactly.
very silent with it and
Exactly.
just keep it to yourself.
Exactly. I've seen that too. I think last month I've seen a post. I found, what is it, something like there's a secret trip Wall Street doesn't want you to know, and I make $1 million a month. What do you write a book if you make 1 million a month, right? Why? Why would you waste your time teaching people? Just spend more time making more millions, right?
Yeah.
That's, again, it's common sense.
That's harsh reality. Unfortunately, people tend to be dreamers.
Yeah.
Oh, what's been the toughest decision you have to make as a coach or consultant, and how did it approach to your business after
I,
thereafter?
as a coach, a couple of times I had to give up clients. Like I, when I do the coaching, it's yes, of course I charge money for it because that's my job and I want to eat also. I don't charge too much, but I expect success. I expect works to be done, right? I want to see my reward. My biggest reward is not the money that comes with it, is to see people progressing and launching their business. Or if they don't launch a business, at least they change their mindset and they have an improvement. But if you come for 2, 3, 4 times and do nothing, I have to chase you for the appointment that you forgot to show up, I'm just going to give up on it. Doesn't matter if you pay me or not. So it's a hard decision to make. but I think it's good for both of us, for me and you as a client. Yeah,
Business is not for everyone.
it's not. But at
Um,
least the good thing is, I would say, I would estimate maybe 80% of, I don't want failure, but people giving up. But I have to give them the kudo that they are trying to
mm,
do something. They may realize later that, you know what, it's much more work than I expected, or it's not what I thought it would be, or maybe I'm not ready yet. That's fine. No problem. You've tried something. Yeah. But if
I,
you dream, never do.
I think
Right.
it's with all the skills that we learned that most of people fail, and this is just the harsh reality of mathematics.
Yeah.
Maybe 20% of people do succeed.
Yeah.
And what's important is actually to study their behaviors to see how you can succeed as well and emulate those traits
Yeah.
that you want to have within yourself. But speaking about the future and future of business,
Yeah.
especially in the sectors that you have worked in, where do you see the biggest opportunities and challenges?
Two opportunities on the spectrum. Yeah, especially now with the new technology, AI is booming faster than everybody can think of. And I use AI every single day, and every single day I use it as, oh, I can do even more with it. So it's a beautiful thing. People are afraid, but it's actually a fantastic tool to use it if you can adapt it. So I see a lot of potential jumping ahead of the train and adapt to it. Meanwhile, I see on the opposite way, because everything is becoming so AI digitalized and personal, that there's still going to be a bigger need, I think, for the human interaction in the future. And this is where I see one of the reasons I decided to do coaching full time now is I can, in my capacity, I can merge both. I can adapt easily to technology, especially for businesses, to make them adapt to changes and to progress with the reality. Meanwhile, there's a human touch of it. It's not you read a book or you go a class online and learn and good luck, Chuck. No, I mean, we're human. We're gonna need human interaction more and more and more, especially now that I'm not sure what's gonna happen in the job market, but there's scary numbers out there that within the next 5 years, 70% of the existing job will be replaced by AI at some point. So if you're not ready, if you haven't thought yet of entrepreneurship or at least doing something or monetize your skills, then you might end up in a situation where what do I do now? And then the human factor, do I ask AI, how do I get a job? No, you're gonna start talking to a human. You're gonna start having an interaction with someone. And unfortunately, as the younger generation now, they're grown up with a screen in front of their face. They don't have necessarily the skills to speak to a human being. Like we talk about mindset all the time today. ChatGPT is gonna change you, right? It's gonna be a human being challenging you, making you see perspective, sharing their own experience. That's a human thing. And mindset is the basis of everything. So I see a lot of potential of people doing work. It could be coaching, could be something else, but human related, because that's going to be lacking very soon. Meanwhile, if you're more into the tech and evolution and working alone, especially for solopreneur, it's a great time to be solopreneur and become millionaire because you can use everything AI if you want and develop a super big business. You don't need to even talk to anyone if you want to.
Sure. In the end, the most important asset to any entrepreneur is his mind. So we need to use it wisely. And for our listeners eager to learn more from you or dive into any of your programs, where can they find you or connect with you?
I have a basic website, which is Essence Mentor. I have a Facebook account too and LinkedIn account. So people can reach out to me. Normally, what I do is I do a free session, exploration session. So we talk about the objective because sometimes I also realize that people are not ready, or when I explain what it's going to look like, they say, maybe not for me. But when it is, then we develop the program. Again, it's tailor made to what they want to achieve, really. Some people are really to launch, they have the mindset, everything, they just need a business plan. And others just say, I want to have a business, I just don't know where. So reach out to me through the website or through the Facebook page, for example. I will book an appointment with you. We'll talk one on one. And as a matter of fact, today I'm launching a promotion which is about 30% off for the month of September. So whoever want to start that program, I charge normally for 3 months, 1490, and it's 999 for the next 30 days. It's a great
Amazing.
opportunity for your listeners if they want to get into starting your business in 3 months. And if not, I just wrote a book in that process as well. So if people just don't want to commit too much and write, I'll put a link at the book too. It's called Bus Up, the guide of starting your first business, all the steps that you need to do, the mindset and the business plan model, everything. So if people just want to read a bit about how does it work, then it's easy read, maybe a 2-3 hours read max. Available Amazon, Apple, and a couple platforms.
Cool stuff. Thank you for joining us today, Martin, and thank you all for listening, and stay tuned for another episode.